2:08. I'd like to open the Open Space Committee meeting. We're being videoed and introduce our members. Sue Perkins, Chair.
Lisa Mozinski, Vice Chair.
Gordon Larrabee, member.
Becky Gallagher.
Dick Skinner, alternate member.
Okay. Want to review the minutes from April 8, 2025, our last meeting.
I'm going to make one correction on that.
Okay.
One of the sentences that I wrote, Sue Perkins checked with Concom to see if they had any left over. Dick was like, left over what? So I'm going to change that sentence to Stuart Perkins checked with Concom to see if they had any salamander signs left over. Clarification point.
Okay. All right.
So then I will make a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
Anyone
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain. I was absent.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and by now we probably all know that the Matt Benoit conservation guy is gone. And we
Sad.
also didn't get any money from the town meeting budget.
Even sadder.
Why?
Never got to, it never made it because there was so much request for money that it never got onto the warrant.
So shouldn't that be up to the
No,
towns?
who decides that?
We can amend from the floor. So did we know this before?
I just assumed that he was going to try to put it on the warrant, and then every time I passed by someone, they were like, oh, you know, it's full, the money's already spoken for everywhere, so.
So, and we'll have to do this again next time, but the budget is a pool of money, and you can move it different places. So if we think, you know, like free cash has too much free cash, then we can say we want to move $500 from free cash to the Open Space Committee. I mean, it's a fluid document.
Yeah.
It's not. But if there was no communication with our request, that's a serious problem.
Well, I think Matt Benoit might have been the serious problem, and he's gone. So now we have a problem that we don't have anybody to go to.
No, you have Jen to go to,
Yeah.
and there's also a person, I think I forgot his first name, John maybe? Charbonneau, I believe that's his name, who is starting in the next week or so in Matt's place. So he's a new planner or something
Okay.
like that. I believe his name is Charbonneau. But anyway, there will be somebody
Replacing them good.
to pick up the pieces, and maybe, you know, one of the first things we can do before the next meeting is invite him to our next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Is he a new hire?
Yes. And one of those agenda items should be the fact that we made a budget request and it was never communicated that it was not going to move forward. I said enough.
Yep.
Okay, I'm glad we got a new one. All right, next actions, number 4, Keven property, next actions and third bid. Did you ever get a third bid? Not that it matters.
No, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I did not.
So, all right, so the basic average for the bids were, how much?
It was 15 and 15.8, I think.
Yeah, so 15.
Yeah, so he had, I think he was going to put 16 on the, to ask for on the warrant. Yeah, it was in that ballpark, so. Well, we're on the Keven property. because I know I had showed this map to the Conservation Commission, but my last traipsing around out there, so the one in blue is what Kathy and I walked around on the other side of the Keven Brook to see what the property looked like up there. The one in purple, that was me on the way back. But long story short, it kind of looks like, once we go over that Stone Bridge area and get up on the other side of that hill, to go straight in the back, which would be like about a 100-foot-long boardwalk. Because everything around that hill, there's something.
A lot of skunk cabbage and everything else are
Not so much skunk cabbage, well, to the
spread out.
to the left, there's a lot of it. It's really, really wet to the left. Just once you go over. To the right is really, really thick, and it's not level, it's a pain in the butt. So, yeah. So that's gonna be like phase 10.
Yeah.
Phase 10. So I don't know if anyone wants to, and this is where the bridge is gonna be there anyways, and bridge there, but we'll need a boardwalk somewhere around in this area.
So, to be clear, that was the boardwalk included in this?
Yes, but that was on the, oh, no. You mean in the trail assessment?
No, in the quote that you got.
No, the quote that we have, the first phase 1 is just to create the parking lot
Okay.
and open up that access trail all the
Yeah.
way to the back.
Okay.
That's like step 1. We can work on step 2 of officially laying out, I mean, some of the trails are already officially existing, then officially marking out, laying out where we want the others to be.
Okay.
Great.
And could probably work on getting some of those cleared up.
I recall there being a pond on the Keven property. A pond,
It's a brook.
a pool of water, whatever it was.
It's a brook. That's why we need the boardwalk over that.
Yeah, it's not so much,
Is that-
well,
Is that something that your horse or someone's horse would ever drink?
there's no easy access to the brook for watering a horse.
You know, like you
And
need
there's no-
sand down to the water or just to save time.
Yeah, it's just, there's too much of a drop off, it's probably too mucky. Where that stone, the stone culvert bridge is too, yeah, there's a drop off on this side, and you've got a stone wall on that side. And where we need to cross further up on it, that's too marshy.
So the answer is probably no.
Correct.
So I just want to go back to this. It's a multi-phase project, but for the scope of the trails, that we could use for a grant, right? And so that will hopefully be coming up for another cycle, this coming, what? I can't remember when it is. Anyway, it's usually an annual grant.
You talking about the Land and Water Conservation
Yeah.
Fund? Yep.
So the thing is that we have, this is why if we depend on a staff person to advocate for us, it's a dangerous road because they're always pinched in resource allocation. So we have to really follow that budget process. And if we had applied for a grant, it's always going to be a matching grant.
Yep.
So matching, if we apply for 30,000, that means we have to match 30,000. So the project's really 60,000. But our main source of the match is going to be going to town meeting.
Yep. And it's not necessarily one-on-one match.
Right.
So,
I'm
like,
just
I
using
think the
that.
Land and Water Conservation, okay, it's
As
just an example, gotcha.
Yeah. So the example is, you're never going to get the full amount for your work through a grant. It's going to have to be matched. The only time you can really go and ask for that match is at annual or fall town meeting.
Yep.
And so you have to look at the calendar and say, is this, because some of these grants, they're not open-ended. You have to complete them by the fiscal year, which runs different than the calendar year.
Yep.
So there are moving parts here, but, it's up to us, I guess,
Track it all.
to track it all and to make sure that the staff person we work with is
Making
fully
right steps, yeah.
aware and advocating for us.
So does that mean that somebody has an assignment to write a grant?
Well, it shouldn't just be one person. It's basically, each of us should take a part if that's possible. And some grants are much more convoluted and lengthy than others. But most of this work, thanks to Becky, has already been done. We have the scope for the trails. We have certain couple estimates and things like that. So we have that information to plug into an application. Maybe your job is to proofread it to make sure it's correct. No, I'm serious. Everybody can do it.
I laugh because we have a little side joke over here.
Yeah, just before the meeting, yeah. Yeah,
But then we have to make sure that we can lock up the match, because otherwise then they'll come back and say, you can't match it, you can't show us you can complete the project,
Yep.
we'll give it to somebody else.
Right. Right.
So,
yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, so we'll check out those, find out when the land and water grant is. And maybe we can shoot for the fall town meeting.
good. Oh, look.
All right, the next one is the Mazinski property, which we really would love to have Becky come over and walk around on that with her little phone and map it out. But
About what?
the Mazinski property, just, for an extension of a trail over to Manchog Street.
It already
Behind
exists.
that house.
It already exists.
Yeah. We did that the first time we were out there, no?
This right here, from basically number 2 out to Manchog Street, that cart road already exists.
Okay,
And it comes out right next to that house.
yeah,
The stuff in purple is
yeah, okay.
on the ground.
All right. Excellent.
There's just a little bit of a mucky area on the way out to Manchog Street. That.
So, then, as far as a bridge across the brook, which is backed up a little bit, but it's still flowing pretty well. The friend of mine makes a bridge across his brook out of a gate of farm field, and then just in the gaps between the structures of the metal, puts in a 2x8 or whatever, fits perfectly in there, and it's a perfect bridge. He broke it because he drove his four-wheeler across it, but otherwise it's good for basically walking.
That would not pass muster.
Yeah,
Town property, that there is no engineer stamp on that for a load bearing, that's open up to liability. That's, no,
yeah,
that's,
not feasible.
on your own property, have at it.
Yeah,
But that's, no,
yeah,
innovative, but
yeah, it is.
You want that, or?
No, it's not.
So just for the minutes, last year, the land and water grant, which covers trails, information sessions were held at the end of the year, and the grant was due January 9. So I expect a repeat that looks something like that. They haven't announced it yet.
okay.
So the January 9 is its end point.
Well, no, the thing is, they'll issue an RFP, and then they'll have information sessions towards the end of the year. Last year, it was November, December, and then your proposal had to be in the beginning of January.
So that would mean if we got the money at the fall town meeting to match that grant.
I have to look at it in more detail, because there's usually a window that you can use for town meeting.
Yeah. So back to the Mazinski property, the parking is good. You haven't been here, Lisa, but they took a giant boulder out of the middle of the parking lot and put crushed stuff down.
I just went by it, it looks great. Yep.
Unfortunately, they didn't roll it out. So when we got there, Dick drove all over it to pack it down. And there's a pock mark over by the street at the very beginning, like a kind of hole we tried to patch, but by then it was pretty hard and everything. I saw a pile in my friend's yard that I touched.
But who did the work?
The highway department.
Oh, right.
We asked them and they came over. So, and then there was a giant tree just to the right of the entrance trail, and the town, or Stanley Tree probably came along and dropped it, but it bounced right in the entrance trail and they maybe rolled it out of the way. But since then, they've taken all the debris and the trail is, it's mucked up, it's went up, but probably a big rake and a shovel will take care of that. And we have the places that we want to bench.
That still needs some gravel.
Yeah,
It goes in and just,
yeah.
It's soft.
yeah,
There's no
the
doubt
gravel
about
would be
that.
better.
I went there this morning, I had to go in four-wheel drive to get out.
Where did you
In the
go?
trail?
No, not on a trail. Jeez, no. Where they had the trees, where they dumped the trees and then they picked everything up.
Oh, so you just on the side of the road?
Yeah, that place is huge. It's almost as big as the parking lot up the street. And it is soft. You go in there and my truck just went, okay.
But I was,
Why would you go in there, though?
I wanted to park there.
Next time, park up the street. I hear there's a parking lot.
We digress.
Should
only
we,
pick on Dick 5 times each meeting.
should we,
Oh,
I lost his name.
should we?
Adam. Should we ask Adam for a load of gravel?
Sure.
Or do we just want to not have that as a parking area?
Where? On the trail
Where they
entrance?
move the trees, where the
Right.
trees no longer exist, the trunks.
I would just encourage parking in the parking lot. I don't think there's that many people that come along, and if you start making
No.
evidence
Yeah,
that you're parking there.
I wanted the gravel from the road going down the trail,
For the trail part.
as part of the, not for the trail parking, but for the trail.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it was a bit of a slope down and not even, and just make it a nice, even, gentle slope.
Yeah, we can do that.
Should we ask Adam for that?
Ask him first. If he says no, then we'll hit other venues.
It will be taken care of.
What? Trail,
Trail.
on the trail.
And remember, that other place looks very inviting, and you probably won't get out of it.
Well, then that's what they get.
Yep.
What, do we have to put no parking signs there?
Don't park in the swamp.
Yeah. You park, your problem. That's why there's cell phones, Yeah, so,
Before I get too far astray here, you and I did some measurements on distance on trails. I'd like to convert those into miles, but I need the numbers,
okay,
and I did not keep a set of numbers.
I probably have them, so, yeah. Pull it up for later. you know, the signs, the gravels, we need to spend some money. We have $169
So I've got, when do we want to put up the signs that we already have?
that we already have.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
Leo Mazinski
Yeah,
property.
the bench. Well, anytime.
2, it's easy enough to put on the kiosk going up where the trailhead is.
Uh-huh,
And the other 2, we need holes.
okay. And those are right up at the parking area?
Yes, did we secure someplace to get some 4x4 posts?
I have 4x4s, and he says 4x4s are no good because they twist. 2x4s are better, and I'm like,
For a signpost?
2x4s.
For the one kiosk, the model that I made, 2x4s.
pressure treated.
Yeah. It's perfectly adequate.
Even if I already have the 4x4s?
Are they pressure treated? Okay, that won't work.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing,
4x4 pressure treated for a signpost is fine.
As is 2x4. I mean, those are small signs, right?
yeah, the small signs and 4x4s are just going to increase the weight substantially.
The weight of what?
Hey,
The weight of what?
I'm getting old.
Sign, yeah. The weight of the wood, yeah.
Oh, no, no,
What, you like 4x4s?
yes. Something that's a little bit sturdier, you go down 2.5, 3 feet.
Did you see what's there now?
How much?
You go up and knock on them and say, hi there,
On the
they're
kiosk.
2x4s.
So is there, are there volunteers to put up the signs? Because we don't have to belabor the details
I
of,
just did one yesterday.
okay, yeah, you're an expert, right?
And Dick bought it all, so,
Uh,
yeah.
Not in New England. No.
Post hole digger is a little tough.
Even that, yeah, you need a bar, a shovel, a pick, and a post hole digger.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is it you're doing over there?
Digging a hole to sink a post,
Yeah,
2.5 to 3 feet,
yeah.
yeah. I
That's
did-
why I bought an auger to make the hole.
Except not in New England soil, it's so full of rock, that auger's not gonna move this rock.
There are rocks there. There's no.
Okay, so when are you going to do this?
When do you want it?
Who's got the materials? I mean,
I've got the signs, we need the posts.
posts.
So
So we
we need
need-
to buy, I mean, I don't mind going out and buying a couple of posts, and then we submit the bill to the,
Check with Jen first, because they have vendors.
they have vendors.
Preferred
Yes.
vendors, yeah.
Prefer, because it's easier for them to do the billing that way.
Yeah.
Because I had where I bought my signs from, she says, she added them to their list. She goes, but if you do that, go through us first before you go and buy it and give them the receipt.
Okay. And we need 2,
4x4 ground contact pressure treated.
How many,
Get the straightest ones you can find,
6 foot,
8 foot.
8 foot,
how many signs are we talking about?
2.5, 3 feet in the ground.
It gives you 5 feet above.
Yeah, 8 foot gives you some wiggle room.
we need, so we need one, get the one down by the phone pole at the far end of the parking lot.
And one at the other end of the parking lot.
Those are the 2,
Yes.
and 2, yeah.
And I think I probably have lags at home to,
The other
them in
ones
with-
we can affix to the kiosk.
What's that?
The other ones we can affix to the kiosk.
I don't understand the question.
The other signs, I'm answering your question.
2. Is that what you're saying?
For the kiosk, how many we got for the kiosk? 2.
2.
Yeah, 2
One
for
for
the
each.
kiosk and 2 for the parking area.
okay. Once you get those, then we can schedule
Right.
a work day.
There's the post.
Oh, cool.
So we use we find black locusts in the woods and cut them down and use those as posts.
They're the best.
Absolutely. More rot resistant than
Yep.
pressure treated.
Yep.
Okay, so signs, check, gravel, check, benches.
So we have $500, and we need to submit our,
I've talked to Gene.
that's right. There was a kink in that, right?
I've talked to Gene at least twice now, and I came close the second time to being thrown out of her office because you got to wait for Ryan to tell me what it is he wants to do. And that's right where we are.
Okay.
Ryan has not done anything that's made Gene happy, and Gene is sitting there saying you can't buy anything you want. You can't.
So we figured it was, we went before the meeting and they were like, well, how much for the bench? And we were like, well, you can get a bench anywhere from like $300 to $1,000 or whatever, and so, we needed the bench augers so that they would stay in place, so that the bench wouldn't get stolen. And so he just picked $500.
So I have a list of things that will consume the $500, and we need to make a decision on what kind of a bench do we want.
Can I just ask, I'm sorry I've missed meetings, but where the heck is the bench going?
There's, at the Mazinski property, right? When you walk in the trail opening, right? Mm-hmm. Did you see the new kiosk there?
No.
There. So,
Well, maybe.
yeah, it's kind of parallel to the trail down the hill, down that little knoll a little ways
Yeah.
on the left. And then closer to the river on the left, it's kind of a little level place. We marked out the four corners of a bench, and you'd be able to sit there and look at the water coming out of the tubes of under the bridge and things like that. Just listen. It's
So
for
it will
thinking
face
of
the river?
Right.
Okay.
Dick's thinking of seniors, or anybody. Hopefully, it doesn't turn into the party place that it already is. But
So you want to put it right by the road then,
right.
as opposed to a little bit further down on that new Riverwalk area, which would be just a little bit further down the trail.
Yeah, we were thinking we could get another one at some point or whatever and put it down there, but
The first one, easy access for seniors.
yeah, he's thinking we
Chance
could
to
just
sit
drop
and
someone off there.
commune
They
with
can
nature.
nubble over there to the bench and sit there for a while,
Okay.
And listening to the water is very relaxing.
It is. I love it.
Yeah, and it's another,
But as long as you're not too close to the road, because then all you hear is the traffic. So,
You mean one car a day?
no, there's more than that on that.
I know, there's at least 5.
yeah. And most of them are you going.
So-
All right, so we're on hold for the bench until Ryan does something. So do we need to,
That's according,
and once again, we're at someone else's fate, do we need to shake him up or something?
that's according to Jean. She said, I can't do anything until I know what he has said.
Yeah.
But what kind of bench are you thinking of?
Okay.
No, I just want to hear the material it's made out of or something. I mean,
Metal,
It's a benchy bench.
metal, is it all metal? Is it
Wood, metal,
wood?
plastic.
Yeah, plastic.
Well, I didn't want to show you anyway.
I mean, there's all sorts of alternatives. You've seen the ones across the street down the Memorial Triangle there. There's the slab of cement and there's a piece of metal that comes up and
yeah, but I'm just
a
saying,
couple
this
of
is,
slabs of wood.
you're saying this is in the woods, facing the river for contemplation, so to me, I'd like it to sort of
Yeah,
match
blend
its
in.
surroundings. So
Granite.
I prefer granite or wood, natural materials. But I have no idea what the costs are. Bring a cushion. I mean,
Yeah.
we can at least think about some of this stuff
Yeah.
because you're going to have to spend this by June 30th, right?
Yep.
So,
So one of the things we can do is we can get a nice bench for about $300 and something.
Made out of what? Wood?
mesh, which may or may not be wood. It's probably metal mesh. That way the water goes through it. So when you sit down, you don't necessarily sit on the water, which is kind of important. I don't know what I did with the spreadsheet. Anyway, a bench, we can get a swing bench, so you sit in it and swing, or just this four-legged bench, or which I saw Town Common. They have single posts, 2 posts to go down in the benches.
It's probably in poured cement or something.
What?
Is it stabilized in cement?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I vote for or I prefer a wood bench myself. But,
What do they have at Wallem? I can't remember. There's a bench out there by the
I don't know why I don't have the,
area.
but I don't.
Okay, the next week, we have to look at benches
yep.
and send in pictures, what we
So
like.
if the group will delegate to our president a choice of a bench, then we can get a bench ordered quickly, pending Gene's decision.
Right.
Well, can you send your spreadsheet around
Yeah.
to our emails so we can look at the prices?
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you.
Does the spreadsheet have pictures?
Yes, they have pictures too.
Okay.
Yeah, and our next meeting is June 10th, so we can order it by June 10th, as long as we have an invoice, as long as things are done by then. Then we still have 20 days leeway.
My concern is ordering is one thing, payment is another. Do we have to have it paid by the end of June?
They have to have the invoice by the end of June, is what I thought.
You understand the dilemma? This is why I hated to lose the week that we just lost.
Well, we can
Yeah.
ask Gene. I
Yeah.
think there's a 5 or 10 day window after the 30th, but that's it.
Yeah.
That's for about the
Well, that's
dates.
aggravating.
Okay. So kiosk, what's with the kiosk?
Well, nothing, it just, I guess just to mention that it's there and everything.
Okay. Bridge, that was just an update on,
Yeah, no, I was just going to mention that bridge that I came across that I thought was great, but apparently not good enough for the town, so.
okay.
We do need to get a trail committee out there, but that's next. Golf cart, I think that's unrealistic.
I agree.
It's a nice thought.
It is, and there's a better property for it or whatever, but between the roots and all the stuff on that property, I think a golf cart would be a hazard. And as when we went before Matt Wojak the other day, Dick and I, to talk about a kiosk in the front here, about, not necessarily with open space, but just to have all the different things on it to, sports, everything. Everybody should contribute or whatever, to make it a town thing. And, what did I say? Oh, we mentioned the bridge over on the Keven property, and Dick has said, I'd like to chop it into thirds and, make 2 beside each other so the golf cart could go across. And Matt said, you're never going to be cutting up a Boy Scout bridge, Eagle Scout bridge on that property. He straightened you out. So, anyway, that's, I don't know. Golf cart, I mean, it's in the distance. If we found a piece of property that was good for that, then that would be fine. But I think that's a far-fetched thing. Trail work, we definitely need that. there, so we should contact the trail committee.
Did we ever ask Concom if we said we flagged the new trail, I assume, do they need to look at it first before we? I don't think so, okay, good, then we can schedule a work
Yeah,
day.
I mean, we took Brandon out there, and he was saying it's fine, and just don't get, you don't land in the river, whatever.
Yep,
As long as there's no disturbance, that's just
Right.
clearing, marking. that kind of
Yep.
thing.
okay.
No bulldozers.
Nope.
Well, Dick
Kicks
was
and
driving his
Baby
car
one.
down there. Okay, yeah, and then, okay, on the Manchog Street side, I wrote a letter to the owner of that property,
Okay, for,
on Manchog Street, where there's a deserted house owned by someone named Richard Roberts. Anybody, would I share that letter with people?
Yes, you did. Were you sending it to that address?
There's a mailbox across the street.
Okay. I was gonna say,
I
nobody's
couldn't
living
believe
there.
it, yeah, that's what I did. But actually, I do know where he lives in, if it's, the information on the assessor's page and everything is correct, he lives in Whitensville. And actually, the person that gave him the land, a relative, sold him for $100 back in 1984 or 5, was a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution in Douglas. But, so, I didn't know, do you think that's a good idea to send that letter?
Yes, too, it can't hurt to ask.
There's a, that parking place across the street that the town took down. There was a garage or a barn or whatever, and now it's just a pile of stuff. That would be a good parking area. And there is a pipeline that skims along that, and I asked John Furno at the Recreation Commission meeting if it was full or empty. He said it's probably dried out.
Did you catch the news? And I'm watching Channel 5. Within 2 days of the discussion of that pipeline, they had a news article on Channel 5. And they were talking about abandoned gas lines. And they said if it isn't, and I'll screw up the wording here, but if it isn't identified as an active line, it's inactive. And it's gone, it's dead. And the gas companies have no interest at all in digging it up and getting a dead line out.
You never know, they could reenact it if whatever, if they have the rights to the property too. Yeah, it just skims the northern edge of that.
The good guy's name.
That's good.
I like it. I think you should.
Yeah,
Give him the option, if he let us know what,
right. Because it's, whether you can build on that piece, I mean, it's awful close to the wetlands behind and everything like that.
Yeah, send it, see what happens.
just keep us in mind.
Yeah, okay.
Should we make a motion?
No,
Okay,
part of her duties.
okay.
I think Dick might have reported the house to the Board of Health. Who did you tell about the house being decayed?
Yeah, I'm not sure that's their
Yeah,
bailiwick.
yeah. Yeah, you walk around the backside and it's gone. I made my daughter walk around so she could see what's going to happen to her house.
Isn't there
She
a
keeps-
building inspector or something that's responsible for?
that's
Who's gonna
not here nor there.
Well,
We're just interested in whether we can
Bypass. Yeah.
obtain the property for open space.
yeah, all right.
Yeah, who's the, I suppose. Okay. Does anybody remember the guy that we ran into when we walked through there initially? And he lived on Manchog Street, and he said he walked.
He came on that Cart Road.
Right. That's how it came in. Okay.
Yes.
All right. He did a lot of wandering around in there to the back of the left of the
Yeah, no,
house.
that Cart Road, that comes right out to the road, and if he
Yeah.
came in, that's,
There's a
it's already open.
green tag in a tree, too, that's on the southern side of the property, which made me wonder as well. Because there's a few little light green tags in the
Yeah.
woods there.
okay.
We may discover another trail someday. All right, Becky and I, number 6, Becky and I attended the Conservation Commission meeting. Yep, they were happy with our progress. So Becky's on the Keven property, which they were very happy with. Actually, the chair expressed an interest in the Cummings Court property, which
Okay, can you just,
Yeah, finish that one.
you're hopping around,
Okay.
I'm losing the trail here.
Yeah. So, yeah, they don't have any money for any of the markers of the trails or anything like that, so.
Okay,
And they have no salamander
Yeah,
things either.
Yeah,
So
that's-
we need trail markers.
yeah. And so, basically, Dick is, in his little packet here, has proposed land restrictions and trail marker.
Okay, so would this fall under new business?
We,
I just have,
Yeah, no jumping.
no, but did you ask the question, this was, I don't know how many years ago, they bought the salamander trail, the boundary markers, the trail markers. How do they not have money to do that again?
They're asking for money this time. They asked for money at the meeting, at the town meeting. But, yeah, they don't have have any idea where they are.
Where's the money they collect on fees?
But they're on board to help us out if they get any, you know.
Well, they also, it would be great if they were partners with this potential Keven grant. They should be included as partners for that, so.
Yeah, he did walk the Keven property and was asking about it.
have we finished with item 6?
With number 6, no.
No.
So, yeah, as far as on 6, there's talking about trail markers. And that's when I was going to throw this part in. Is that what you wanted to do? So we would want to pick colors for trail markers, or Dick's proposing making easy trail colors and intermediate, and it's like
Well,
going
it's-
down a ski hill or something.
It's a current convention in the ski country. So I just translated it to us. Same convention, green, blue, black.
Doesn't matter to me, but, yep. They both show, I don't know about the black, it doesn't seem like it would show up as well.
Okay, so the purpose of marking the trails is to have people not get lost.
Have people do what?
Not get lost and to know where they are.
Well, that, yeah.
Follow the blue trail to the green trail to the red trail and back home.
Yes.
There may be some trails that are very difficult you don't want people on, except those who,
I don't think we have that many of those anyway,
we won't. We have
unless we
one.
don't get Castle Caves.
That's the type of information that could go on the kiosk. The kiosk would have the overall map,
There you go.
then you could do that kind of stuff there, but
This is
not
a
out,
difficult trail at markers such and such.
Yeah.
yeah, not out on the trail, because you're marking to find it, not marking to know. If you mark everything all blue, it's easy. Everyone's still going to get lost because everything is blue.
Yeah, same as the salamander trails, they're all yellow, so.
So that's,
Yes,
So-
I agree with you. That's the place you'd put it, is on the kiosk.
So multicolored trail arrows is a good idea.
Arrows, you think, yeah.
Yes, that way there you can put them in any
Yeah.
direction that you need. You're turning or you're going straight.
Yep. Sounds good. Colors, arrows, like metal? Things last.
No, you have that flexible
Heavy-duty plastic.
plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which degrades over time and flakes and breaks.
Well, okay, so then you have to compare, is this the $169 we're spending? Because then you have to compare what is the price break.
Okay, homework here.
You're ordering, what, how many different colors? 4? 5?
How'd you get beyond 3?
I'd start with 4, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying,
For the future, we'll have them.
every color is, maybe they come in, I don't know, packets of X or whatever.
Yep.
They're not they shouldn't be special order. And then
Correct.
the only artwork you need is to say that it's the Douglas Trail or whatever.
I don't even need artwork, really. Got the arrow.
Well, maybe we need to think this through some
Let me play around with custom signs,
Yeah.
because you can custom make things, and let me check to see what they got and what we can do and what the pricing would be.
And what colors are available?
Any color that you want. You want something that's bright, so if you want to
Doesn't
pick
fade.
4 colors, I can get. Oh, I'll look at it, see what they've got.
Yeah, I don't really think we need to tie it into skiing. Sorry.
And since they're already on the vendors list,
Yeah.
If they were not huge signs, meaning wind resistance, but smaller signs, that we could,
Things like this.
yeah, and we could use plastic corrugated, or corrugated plastic.
okay, so I'll check up on that and see what we got.
And my daughter,
No thoughts of just painting.
there you go.
It fades.
We do it in Worcester, and it's like every 5 years you go and repaint.
The red slash, the blue slash.
Right,
I'm fine with that too.
that's cheap.
Yeah.
You could have a regular arrow sign at the turn, and then combine the two, so then the painted trees after that in both directions.
Well, if you're on a blue trail and the yellow trail goes off here on the tree, there's a yellow arrow this way and a blue arrow that way. You paint it on.
Or the yellow, you can have a vertical yellow slash that indicates the yellow goes that way and the blue
Right.
stay this way. So those are
Well, we have to spend $169.
Yeah. But see what it looks like.
We could just make those go further if we put those at the turns and then follow it with the slash, with the paint on the trees.
Yeah. Get 20 of each color or something like
Well,
that.
let me see
instead of
what-
100 or something.
Let me see what they've got,
Yeah.
what I can come up with.
And just to buy the paint, that costs money too. That's good. All right. Recreation Commission meeting, yeah, we already discussed that one, I guess.
Yep.
Did you want to bring something up, Dick? Was it this? Let's see. Bring that up. Okay, spending, we can always get a couple of birdhouses or whatever if we couldn't spend the whole $169.
Birdhouses are free.
We need two no trespassing sign for that private property. Because we said we would sign that, but you can get one of those at Home Depot. The aluminum ones, really cheap. We'll have to see if they're on the
Two of
vendor.
those and two of the boards. The 2 4x4s.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if we could, do we want two no trespassing signs? Maybe one for each side of the trail to emphasize it. One on each side, no trespassing.
But are there other places we could use them? So maybe we should get,
For right now, I know we need it there because we said we would.
yeah.
So, yeah, if we could get those at Home Depot, the pressure treated and the two aluminum signs, there's,
Too, yeah. Okay.
right.
All right. Okay. Old and new business. Do you want to talk about this proposed land restrictions
Yeah.
we came up with?
It struck me as though we didn't, because we came up on 1 or 2, and I get disoriented of the deer,
Trail, tree stand.
ladders up a tree with the deer stand up, I don't know, what, 15 feet off the ground?
At least,
It
yeah.
was high.
Yeah, there were 2 of them. Luckily, they weren't facing each other.
And one of our neighbors has admitted to years ago putting up one of those
Oh, yeah.
deer stands. And so it struck me at that time that we don't want hunting on these small pieces of property.
And I can argue that. Why?
Why you would not want hunting?
Yes.
Why you would want hunting?
Why would you not want hunting?
The houses are too close.
It's already
There's-
prohibited.
There's already
In the
that
res-
500.
As long as they're 500 feet from a house
Yeah.
and whatever it is, how far away you gotta be from a road, you're,
Lisa says it's already restricted on conservation land.
No, I'm sorry. It's restricted on any land that is what Becky is saying. 500 feet from a house, you cannot discharge a weapon.
Right.
So
It's not a...
now where are you
want-
talking about?
You want to be out walking a trail and have someone not see you and fire off a shot?
That's
we shoot.
people hunting in the state forest and people walking with their dogs every year
Okay.
during
and
hunting
it's,
season.
and it's not prohibited now, so whoever's hunting out there is still hunting, and it hasn't been an issue.
I would say
they're
at
hunting.
the kiosk, put a little sign that says, beware hunting. You know?
Kind of overdue in it, but what would be nice is if the deer stand came down at the end of the season. It doesn't have to stay there. So we could put a sign on it that says, your neighbors would appreciate it if you would take the stand down at the end of the season.
It's a lot of work getting it down, a
Yeah, I
lot of
think
work
that's-
getting it up.
No, those things are portable.
You need a ladder.
Well,
And I
we
know
put
there's
it
at
up.
least 2 on the Keven property, at least 2. There might be 3, and there's 2 that are dead, that are trees that they were on just down.
Yeah.
But we saw them on the Wazinski property.
2 of them out there, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you've got nearby property and everything.
How about, if you don't want to do hunting, how about dirt bikes?
Definitely no.
I agree.
Yes, hunting,
just
no
destroy the
dirt
environment.
bikes.
Dirt bikes are ATVs.
Yeah.
Motorized vehicle.
Yep.
Motorized.
So we would have to pass that by the Board of Selectmen for their blessing.
I guess, find out. How does it work?
Is that your project?
Budget for what?
Is that
Project.
your project?
A project,
To follow up with
if
the
you wish?
select board.
Has there been an issue with dirt bikes on
Not yet.
these properties? I'm just wondering why.
Well,
ounce of prevention.
There was a discussion of the state forest, a four-wheeler recently,
Yep.
a big brouhaha.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Plain and simple, not allowed. It's
That's
the law, whether they think it's
on
right or
state
not.
property, but what he's saying, should we have the same thing for our
Yep.
town conservation property?
Yes, but who is the authority to create the restriction? And then who is the enforcing authority?
Board of Selectmen, police.
Well, that's from our perspective, but we need it validated.
Right.
So that means you have homework.
This is another waiver?
The what?
Is this another waiver, page 2?
Is this for?
You're talking about this long form?
Yeah.
It's a standard waiver that the town uses for all sports.
What's it have to do with the open space?
Recreation.
So everybody that walks the trail has to sign this?
That seems to be what this form says.
You're
No.
asking that we utilize it?
Yeah. Enforcing it would be fascinating.
No.
How are you going to collect it?
Yeah.
Like what?
How are you going to get this form back?
Oh, well, you create a way to get the form and put it back.
So I think there's a definition here between what this purpose is for recreation programs.
It's the,
Town-owned property and using the property is not a town program. It's just open space to be used. It's not a program. It's not like Little League softball or
Soccer.
a basketball, soccer programs.
Organized.
Pickleball.
what's the difference?
It's an organized program versus,
Big.
I feel like going for a walk in the woods.
That's, exactly.
All right, let's do this. Let's pass it by Matt.
No,
That's a waste.
yeah,
No. You want
no,
to pass it by the town clerk?
no. I
That's,
don't believe we should,
We're not digging for projects, we just want to do what we need to do.
no, this is, the town is covered under municipal insurance or whatever. This is, I want to go for a walk in the woods, and the end. It's not a organized sport that requires people to tell other people what to do. Like run here and go run there and things like that.
Okay.
Unnecessary.
But thank you.
Okay.
You have a letter here?
Yes, this is old business. This is the thank you letter that I was trying to get finished to Mr. Sherrier. It says, "Dear Mr. Sherrier, the Town of Douglas Open Space Committee wishes to thank you for your generous donation of your parcel at 25 Conservation Drive to be protected for its conservation and open space values. This property helps us access town-owned property beyond it and protects frontage along the beautiful brook that runs through it. We are grateful that its natural characteristics and biodiversity can be protected in perpetuity. We look forward to hearing more about the structures, learning more about the structures that were built there long ago, and to helping others understand its important contribution to Douglas history. Thank you again for protecting this property's tranquil beauty. Sincerely, Susan Perkins, Chair."
Beautiful.
nice.
Great.
Nice.
Very nice.
So if you sign that,
Yeah.
I'll put it in the mail if you want. or-
I can have it.
Good job, Lisa.
I'll get it.
Okay.
I've written a couple of notes to the highway department to thank them for doing the little things that they do or whatever.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. That's a good idea.
Oh, recreation, but we'll wait till we get the 500. To thank them. All right, any other new,
Just before we leave the kiosk area, you commented that you, as you were driving by, you saw the big white on the kiosk.
oh, yeah.
That doesn't have to be white, that could be brown. Could be any
He's
color you
talking
want it.
The one at the Mumfords.
So if you didn't want it to stand out, then pick a different color.
It's like a push pin, he's got push pins and stuff in it. So we could, when we get a map, we could attach it or whatever. I look at the ones at the lake and they're all like stapled all the way down the legs and around the other side and everything, but it's a good sturdy little kiosk. He said it cost him $50 to build. You've spent a lot of money. You could give us a bill.
Free money,
Yeah.
it's free money.
3 money?
It's called bottles and cans.
Yeah. You're still doing that?
Cool.
No,
No.
no, but if we need money, I'll restart it.
Oh, okay. I bought them. Very good.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
What about
About the
Ryan?
next meeting?
Ryan's gift, are you and I going to go and make that happen?
Yeah, we need to shake him or something.
Yeah.
Where can he be found?
I'm hung up on Jean, and Jean's hung up on Ryan.
Yeah. So we need to move Ryan. Where can we find him?
Well, do you have his phone or his email address?
Yeah, I had his email, I had his telephone number, I don't have it. My cell phone crashed.
Yeah, no, you crashed.
Absolute crash, nothing is salvageable.
Well, he's
Fell in the
on,
brook.
so, maybe, should we get his phone
Yeah.
number?
Well, yeah.
I had to write my friends and neighbors, say, please give me your telephone number.
All right. All right, next meeting, June 10th at 2 PM.
Sure.
Sure.
It's my father's 100th birthday.
Wow.
Luckily, he's not around for it.
Is that a Tuesday?
That is, back to Tuesdays. We were bumped because of the town meeting. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
3:10.